Because you're the coach.
Okay, so what is the purpose of your lesson?
The purpose today was, or the purpose will be that I want her to be able to make connections to text to construct meaning.
Okay, so you're going to make connections.
I'm going to have her use text to world connections, like something in the text she can connect to in real life. Then have her make connections to something from another book. She can make text to text. Or she can make text to herself. Something from the book, she can put it as a connection to herself to construct meaning of the story.
Okay. And you're going to have her read pages 12 to 16 of Planets and Stars and have her write in a journal. Okay, how are you going to have her make those connections in the journal?
I'm going to have her think of something, like we talked about, we're going to talk about animals in this story, so I'm going to have her think of something where she can, in the real world, is something that's big and then something that's small. Like compare those items. Like on her own, after reading the story.
You're going to have her compare. Okay. So when you have her compare, will you ask her? Will you just let her compare? Will you tell her to compare and just leave her on her own? Or will you tell her to compare and give her a guide with comparing to text and world? And
yeah, I think I want to go back over what text to text, text to world, text to self is, and then have her actually give her an example first.
Okay.
And brainstorm, and then have her write it in the story.
Okay, so you're going to give examples, and then ask her to compare.
Right.
And then what is your goal? What do you expect to see from her?
I expect for her to see that she knows how to construct meaning by making these connections. Like, the whole thing should be, well, I understand I'm making connections because I'm constructing meaning of this story. So this is a goal she can use future in any book, that if she doesn't understand something, she can kind of make those connections and make those mental images in her brain so she can construct meaning when she doesn't understand something.
Okay. And I understand when you say mental images, what you're talking about in this particular story, when you're talking about that goal, what are you going to be looking for from her to know that she meets that goal? So how will you know that?
Well, what I'm going to do is make a double entry diary as she's reading.
Okay.
And then have her write down something in the text that stands out to her, like something that the book says, and then have her actually connect to it and write it on the paper what she's thinking. So it's basically holding her thinking is what the double entry diary is doing.
Okay, so there'll be a double entry diary, and then it will hold her thinking, so you'll be writing down what she says.
And she'll be writing it down.
She'll be writing down what she says. So she'll write down her thinking and her connections that you've already reviewed. Okay. And will you go back and look at those connections to see if she made a connection to each one of? Like a connection to the world, a connection to life. Okay, so you're going to go back and review that with her?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So the sequence of the lesson, I think I pretty much have. So you're going to talk about, and let me see if I'm correct, you're going to talk about the connections and review the text-to-world connections, correct? Okay. You're going to read the story. And then the double entry diary is going to be done at the same time?
I'm going to have her do that at the same time.
Okay.
That way, you know, it's easier for her to make connections while she's reading the story instead of waiting until after. The piece after it is to see whether or not she can do this without, you know, on her own, so to speak. I'm kind of modeling for her at
the same time.
At the time, yeah.
Okay. Same time, so there'll be modeling going on while you're reading and doing this. And then when you're finished, it talks about drawing pictures. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what I'm going to have her do is pick out some of the vocabulary words out of the story that maybe she doesn't understand, and have her draw pictures. She likes to draw. I try to always include that because she really enjoys that. So I figure it was a great way to construct meaning with drawing the pictures, to understand it better if she has another way to visualize the information.
Okay. Now, will she relate that meaning back to the story in any way? Or back to her connections?
Yeah, like I wanted to have her, like, once she draws the pictures, she can actually relate those pictures to something that maybe a connection. She can use maybe a text-to-text, or like in this story, for instance, there's like a Komodo dragon was one of the reptiles, and I would like her to actually draw the picture of it to make meaning of it, and then maybe connect that, you know, as she's drawing to something that she knows.
Okay. So when I watch your lesson, what is it that you would like for me to do, or like for me to observe and see?
I like to see how she's able to use comprehension strategies, or what other comprehension strategies can I do with her, because I feel like sometimes, like in the past, she's been maybe a little bored or something more exciting for her.
Okay. So you want me to look at what comprehension strategies you're using in the lesson. For further discussion. Okay. Are there any other concerns that you have that?
Just, you know, something. I think, you know, I just want to make sure that she's engaged with the lesson.
So I should also look at her engagement, which really goes back to those comprehension strategies and whether or not, you know. Okay. All right. Let's look that way.